Welcome back, everyone. This is Acid Roots. We're gonna get through with part 7 of Let's Play Link's Awakening. Now, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag and let you guys know I am gonna start using the Game Shark for this because I was not in the happiest mood fighting the mid-boss, and I'm not the kind of person who likes to torture himself in order to get better at something. So obviously there's gamers out there that can do it, but it's not me. But luckily we're still gonna have fun with this, and really this is a shining example of what Zelda has to offer, right down to the airy atmosphere of this. I mean, this song just feels like it's permanently locked in the month of like April, May, or June or something. You know, just the dun 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 da 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 da. You know that. It's really, I mean, this sounds so triumphant, and it always has. You know, it's been featured in about 4 or 5 Zelda games, at least all the 2D ones. So, but here is the second dungeon, and right off the bat, just understand you're gonna have to get a handful of keys, but they're not that hard. The dungeon itself is not as difficult as the bosses are, just because you only can take so many hits. So this is what I've found. As long as you know the way that the puzzles turn out, you should be rather fine. This guy is a little bit annoying, but you actually don't have to fight him. But okay, so this game, thing about it is I always remembered it being #1 when I would read Nintendo Power magazine. And so the Game Boy charts would have about 5 games that would be featured, and they would be ranked 1 to 5 as the most popular games. And basically from the years 1994 to about 1998, this was the most popular game. Now, considering the Game Boy had around 800, 700 games, this is pretty much, you'd think something else would have come out of nowhere. And my understanding as to why that didn't happen is because I just think people didn't know what to look for. Obviously Contra was not at the top selling charts when it came out. I just don't think it was. And Castlevania wasn't really either. And Metroid especially wasn't. Just all of these games were not really that much. And, people had to use word of mouth in order to get these games talking. There was an internet in 1993, so the story I'm trying to say is that this was one of the few games that people just knew, and it had 6 years. Zelda since 1987 had 6 years to get on top of things. And really, some of the other games that were featured around that time, the Donkey Kong Land games were usually on the charts, and then James Bond started showing up because of GoldenEye, but it just wasn't that interesting. Most people will probably say the Game Boy is not a fun machine just because there isn't anything worthwhile. And I understand that Pokemon is pretty much heavyweight champion, but I'm just surprised that some of you guys don't get sick of the setting. Like, I have to be #1 trainer, gotta take care of my Pokemon, and I've got a rival who doesn't like me. I mean, it's the whole setting to it. It's a little bit different with Zelda and stuff. And, this is something to pay attention to. Mario doesn't really talk much in his game, so Zelda's about as close as you're going to get to a similar adventure, but this is something that I've noticed. And, obviously there's more to it because Final Fantasy was on this machine as well, and I'm I can't wait to do Final Fantasy Adventure, which is basically in the Secret of Mana series. So that's like the first one. I think it's called like some Seiken Densetsu or something like that. But the Mana series had its own series, and I think there was one for the PlayStation called Legend of Mana, and yeah, there's just several of those games. I like these games because they are action adventure. So that, I mean, it's basically like Zelda, except the only exception is that it has more role-playing elements to it. So yeah, I mean, the only thing is with all these games on the machine, there's just not a lot of room for clones, and I know that's what a lot of people want. One of the main reasons Donkey Kong Country was so popular was because it was similar to Super Mario World, and it advanced that thing, and that's essentially what Rare was good for. You know, Banjo-Kazooie and DK64 and Conker and all those games, they were expanding upon Mario 64. And you know, I don't know about how many of you guys out there, but when you see just one version of a game, doesn't it make you want more? You know, like, how can you deal, you know, people playing one Zelda game every 6 years? I couldn't do it. You know, I'd say my interest is dulled. I mean, I don't really think of myself as impatient, but I'm not someone who's going to wait 5 years just for one video game I like. And, you know, often the point is you're supposed to try new games, but you still kind of want something that's similar to what you already like. So, this is just a thing. I mean, you may not have known it, but Super Mario Brothers, you know, most of the people watching this grew up with Super Mario Bros. 3 already being out. And same thing with Super Mario World and Yoshi's Island, but the thing was, back in 1988, 1989, there was only one Mario game, one side-scrolling Mario game, and that was Super Mario Bros. If you were sick of that, that's about all you had. Super Mario Bros. 3 came out 5 years later, but then there was Super Mario World, but then there was another 5-year wait. I mean, this point being, that's one of the weaknesses I found with video games, and it's kind of a reason why I'm slowly but almost surely departing from them, is because, you know, my generation, the games that I grew up with, there's only so many. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'm simply not interested in the PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, and there's very few Xbox games after the first one that I'm interested in. I don't know why. I mean, I think a lot of people are the same way, because when I read game facts and that sort of thing, they say that the only machines they have hooked up, or like the only machines they care about, is the PC and then the PlayStation 3. So, I mean, we need something to revitalize this stuff. Because, I mean, it just is like it's a very Steam world right now. Steam, the program for the PC games. That's what people are just doing. They just sit on their desktop computer all day, and, you know, that's kind of what's up. But I'm trying to bring some of this back, and I know Zelda's the perfect series to do it. Watch as this boss annihilates me. Don't do what I'm doing. But alright, subscribe for more fun.